So hello guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, your girl barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. You better start addressing me as your honor or my lord down in the comment section. Oh yes. Don't mind me, I'm not a magistrate and I'm not a judge. But as when I was in active practice, a lot of my contemporaries that were called to bar together, many of them are already judges and magistrates. So if I was in active practice, what year is this? I was called to bar. How many years ago? Was it 14 years ago, thereabout? So in this video, address me as your honor or my lord. Start to drop in the comment section and say, your honor, welcome back to the channel. This is the first and would be the last time I'm coming to you guys robed. It's been a while. Back then, whenever we address legal issues, I usually come fully robed, even with my wig, so we can talk and I can tell you guys what the law says on these subjects. So enjoy this look for the last time this year before we jump into 2025. I hope you are loving it. On today's topic, I would need us to pay rapt attention, keen attention, because you all know the saying, ignorance of the law does not excuse. Ignorantia juris non excusat. And yes, on this channel, we demonstrate some levels of compassion and empathy on subjects that we cover, but we are seldomly, almost never, driven by sensationalism. So we are now in an era where people are lazy, if I can call it that, to dig deep and draw deeper and broader dimensions to stories that they read. They just pick on headlines and run with it. It is a media gimmick. It's a media game that almost every media house utilizes. And usually these headlines are exaggerated to draw emotional reactions, to spark attention, thereby provoking reactions at the expense of accuracy and balance. And I guess that's why you have me, yours truly, to do all the heavy lifting and all the deep digging, and then give you accurate information on news and situations in a fun, understandable, and concise manner, alongside entertaining you and also enlightening you on the law's positions on these things. So it is an all-rounder. We are a total package over here. So if you've seen my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, hey, don't end the year this way. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. Without further ado, let us dive right into this video. So sometime last week, I came across the story of a certain young man who was alleged to have been convicted to die by hanging for stealing a chicken. This case sprang out somewhere in Osun State in Nigeria and began about 14 years ago. His parents were on a podcast, and according to his mother, he is an only son, he is an only child, and she was crying profusely, and his father was there weeping as well, and even the presenter, even the person who was anchoring the show was also wailing. It was such an emotional, scenery. Take a peep.
Sentenced to death by hanging in Osun State for stealing fowl.
Ni wọ́n gbé mi lọ nígbà tí mo débẹ̀ bórí mi ṣe mo ní tó tí ní àjò ìbá ti ẹ̀pin síbi ṣùgbọ́n kọ́mọ mi ó sá jáde Peter àti rìndé lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí o ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. ọ̀nà Ọlọ́run ẹ̀ síjú àánú wò mí torí ọmọ kan so. mo wá mi kógun igun tó dé mi ò rí o mo wọ́ ọmọ mi ò rí ẹyọ kan so tí mo ní dé.
As expected, when this interview aired, the reactions were crazy. Let's take a look briefly at some commentaries. This person said, our judiciary is messed up. God, because of foul? Another said, at this point, we need to look into those that call themselves judges. And Chidinma here said, why is the judge anonymous? His name should be published. There were so many other reactions like this. And honestly, I wasn't surprised about the reactions one bit, no. Yes, I admit that there is a widespread belief that the justice system is corrupted, is flawed. But I still expect that some pertinent questions should be asked. But the first question that you may want to ask me is, Barrister Neze, is it possible that somebody can be convicted to die for stealing just a chicken? And the answer is yes, under certain circumstances. Now let me tell you what the law says and how the law works. First, did the theft culminate in a murder? Was murder perpetrated in the act of carrying out theft? While theft on its own, though it is a felony, it is a very serious offense, but does not carry a capital punishment. If in the course of carrying out that theft, murder occasions, the killing of another person happens, the offender caused the death of a person, it will fall under a capital offense and it will attract the death penalty. So the first question that should be asked by any reasonable person that came across this news of a man being sentenced to death for just stealing a fowl should be, did the act of stealing involve a murder? 2. Was there the employment of the use of firearms or weapons? The act of taking or attempting to take another person's property without their consent can either be theft or armed robbery. Theft, which is a lesser offense, or armed robbery, which is a more serious offense, a capital offense, matter of factly. And do you know where the distinction between these two offenses lie? Can you guess? Begin to drop in the comment section if you can take a guess where the distinction lies between theft and armed robbery. You can pause the video and give an intelligent guess down in the comment section. I'll tell you. The word armed. Section 1 of the Robbery and Firearms Special Provisions Act defines robbery as theft accompanied by violence or a threat of violence. So if the thief came barehanded to steal a fowl or to steal whatever commodity that he came to steal, that is theft. But if he came bearing arms, whether a gun, whether a knife, a machete, any object or weapon capable of causing death or grievous bodily harm to another person, that person is no longer a thief. That person has graduated from thief, from ole, from barawo to army robber. And the punishment for armed robbery in Nigeria is death. And oh yes, Section 2 of this act, the Robbery and the Firearms Act of Nigeria, prescribes the death penalty for armed robbery where the use of firearms was explored, even if ultimately death was not occasioned on that operation. Take a look at this law. Let's read it out together. It says, any person who commits the offense of robbery shall, upon trial and conviction under this act, be sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 21 years. If any offender mentioned in subsection 1 of this section, which I just read, is armed with any firearms or any offensive weapon, or is in company of any person so armed, at or immediately before or immediately after, I'm going to explain, just relax, the time of the robbery, the said offender wounds or uses any personal violence to any person, the offender shall be liable upon conviction under this act to be sentenced to death. So as long as there is a weapon, you held a weapon immediately before the act of that robbery, or immediately after, or during, and you cause anybody to be wounded, or you met out any personal violence to any person, that person shall be liable to death, even if he came in company of somebody holding that weapon, but he was not the one holding it. Even if the use of that weapon did not cause the death of somebody, you can still be held liable to die for armed robbery. And that is the law. So the next sensible question to ask in this case is, okay, this person standing accused of stealing a chicken, was it common theft? Was it just breaking and entering? Or was he armed? Thirdly, the major subject of this debate on social media, of this outrage, what is getting people all reeled up is that item that was stolen. A chicken, a common fowl, okuko. How can you sentence a man to die just because he stole chicken? Now, this position may fly, may work in the court of social media, but it does not have any place in the court of law. I'll tell you why. Under our laws, theft or robbery is not primarily evaluated by the value or the worth of the items in question. So the subject is immaterial, it is inconsequential. The crime is appraised on the circumstances or the manner at which it was carried out. I hope you're understanding. I'm going to explain further. So even if this stolen item is of minimal or negligible worth, the offense can still be capital, thus attracting the death penalty. And that is based on more important elements like violence, like force, like the occasioning of death, and like the involvement of a weapon. That is because the aim of the law, its objective, its purpose is primarily to punish or deter threats to human life and destruction or violation of public safety, the compromise of public safety, not necessarily to protect the value or the worth of material items or objects or stolen property. That is not the essence of the law on armed robbery. So if a man is convicted for stealing a loaf of bread or a pack of pencils or crayons using a weapon, emphasis on being armed, and another person is convicted for robbing a bank and absconding with 1 billion naira using a weapon, the law's focus is not on the value of the items that were stolen. It is on the risk to life and public safety that occasioned in the both scenarios, and both men could be sentenced to death. It is on the nature of the crime, not the value of the property. And I will give you the law's justification for that. A man holding a gun to steal this phone can shoot or kill just as fast as a man holding a gun to rob a bank. Are you aware? At the slightest apprehension of danger or resistance, these men in any of these situations can cause the death of another person. That is the position of the law. What do you think about this? Do you think that the law should give some consideration to the value of the items, or you think that the law is right and just to focus on the risk that comes from brandishing a weapon while trying to take what does not belong to you? Drop your comments down in the comment section. So this is the next question that should be asked in this case. Let's go to the facts. Conspiracy. I hope you're learning. I hope you're understanding. I am teaching you important, invaluable facts, and not just for the purpose of these cases as they come, but to empower you with knowledge, to enlighten you on what works behind social media drama and sensitization, to improve you and make you a more vast and knowledgeable person. And some of you have asked, how may I support your channel? Don't forget that you can support us by joining channel membership down below, or simply subscribing to our super chat or super thanks. That would be a fantastic way to support our brand and what we do here. So make recourse down below and join either channel membership or our super programs. Let's proceed with this video. Conspiracy. What is conspiracy? Conspiracy under Nigerian law refers to an agreement by two or more persons to carry out an unlawful act. And the law on conspiracy is a very dicey one. No, I wouldn't use the word dicey. I would say it is a very strict law. First, conspiracy as an offense is punishable whether or not that act that you conspired to carry out was eventually carried out or not. I would explain. Two men conspired to defraud a white woman, 419. They conspired to obtain by false pretenses. How they're going to acquire the laptop, how they're going to do whatever they do. But eventually, they had a change of mind and didn't carry out that act of fraud, or they haven't carried it out yet. For the fact that they have conspired to carry out that felony, that is punishable by law, despite you haven't even made do your conspiracy. That is the law on conspiracy. Secondly, one can be held culpable for the offense of conspiracy, irrespective of whether you were present at the crime scene or not. So if 4 friends conspired to rob a bank, and they were all on the drawing board, they were all designing the blueprints of what to do, what not to do, when this person will be going out, when the safe will be open and shut, and that armed robbery was carried out by 3 persons while 1 person stayed at home. That person that stayed at home is just as guilty for committing that crime as much as the people who were physically present to carry out the crime. That is the offense of conspiracy. So if a banker conspires with armed robbers to rob a financial institution, and that banker went home, he didn't join the robbers that stormed the bank, he is just as guilty for armed robbery, despite he didn't physically carry a gun and rob the bank. The offense of conspiracy even goes as far, reflecting in the punishment that is given for it. I've sort of explained this. If 3 people conspired to kill somebody, and the first person is at the gate watching, he didn't go in, he didn't pull the trigger, he didn't cause the death, he was just at the gate watching for passerbys or security operatives, but he joined in the conspiracy to kill, he would be held guilty for murder. And if the conviction is death, he too will be killed, despite he didn't pull the trigger and he didn't even step into the building. That is the offense of conspiracy. And the punishment for conspiracy varies and differs according to the kinds of offenses that you conspired to commit. For a felony, the punishment for conspiring to commit a felony, which is a serious offense, is 7 years imprisonment. The punishment for conspiring to carry out a capital offense, like treason, like murder, like armed robbery, is death. Whether or not you were at the crime scene, or whether or not you were the one that pulled the trigger. Once you conspired to carry out a capital offense, you get a capital punishment. So to a layman that goes with headline news and reacts based on headline news, you might scream, oh, he stole chicken. So what did he do? Assuming that there was conspiracy to do something more grievous, and his own role was just to go and pick the chicken, but they had already conspired that one man would kill the security men in front, while the second man is raping the women that work in the farm, while his own job would just be to pick the chicken. His parents would say, oh, he just stole chicken. But according to law, there was conspiracy to commit a capital punishment. And he that just stole the chicken, his own work was just to steal chicken, will still be held guilty in the same degree and proportion as the person whose job it was to kill. So the next question to ask in this case is, was there a conspiracy? Aside from picking the fowl, was there an already serious, more damning conspiracy to carry out a serious, more damning offense? That's the next question that one should ask. But it's important that I bring to your notice that a judge, a justice, or a magistrate is not an IPO, is not an investigating police officer. They adjudicate on the matter based on the facts and evidence before it, based on what is presented to them, what is on the charge sheet, and whatever evidence that the prosecution brings to courts to buttress or support their claims. In fact, judges are barred from acting as investigative officers. Judges are not equipped or empowered to investigate a matter outside what is presented in court. Even in the jury system, Jurors, part of the code of conduct, part of the policies that are read to them before they sign up to be jurors, it is written there that jurors are prohibited from going outside the facts of the case presented in court to start making findings or making investigations or trying to know outside what is presented in courts. So also are the judges bound by. They must stick to the facts of the case. So in this case, I'm curious to know what charges were preferred by the police and what evidence was presented to back them up. First and foremost, stealing. The plain one, the regular one that I have explained to us during the course of this video, can never, ever, ever attract the death penalty. A man is just walking on the road, he sees chicken and picks it and steals it, and a judge would sentence him to death. That is impossible. Even if the judge is on colos, even if the judge is a mental case, that is not possible. Let us stop getting carried away by media headlines. No judge can give punishment that is not prescribed in a legislation. And the criminal code that governs Southern Nigeria is very clear about the definition and the punishment for theft. The regular offense of stealing, as described in this case, or you see something, you see a phone, you pick it up and you steal it, that kind of theft attracts a 3-year jail time. When it becomes aggravated, maybe it involves breaking into a dwelling place, a dwelling house or building, or breaking into public property, then that kind of theft attracts 7 years imprisonment. When it comes to stealing that involves what belongs to employees or trusts, maybe trust funds, of course you have been put in a position of trust. That kind of stealing also attracts 7 years imprisonment because it is an abuse of a vital position that you hold in trust for others. So it also attracts a 7-year jail time. There is no judge that you would present a simple and plain case of theft, of stealing, and the judge will say, go and execute him. Go and hang him to death. I know that we do not have an ideal justice system. Mana, it is not totally an animal farm. So before we call on the judge to be killed and to be crucified and to be disgraced and to be published, let us first think. What charges did the police bring before the judge? I highly suspect that the police brought a charge, an offense of armed robbery, not theft of fowl. And if the prosecution brings this charge and proves its case beyond reasonable doubt in court, then the judge will be bound to give judgment. The judge will give pronouncement based on the facts that were tendered before it and the evidence that was proven before the courts. That is exactly the way the law works. And that is why the symbol of justice is a blind woman, blindfolded woman. She doesn't see anything. She's holding a scale, and one scale is tilting higher than the other. That's the symbol for evidence. Which evidence supersedes the other? She's blindfolded. She doesn't see you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't know anything outside the scale of evidence presented before it. That is the justice system. And that is the global phenomenon. So yes, this man in question's mother has come out crying, oh, my son just stole chicken, and the judge said they should go and kill him. But I strongly believe that there are more facts to this case that the public is not abreast of. There might be true facts, they might be false, but there is more to this case. I'm not saying that everything is accurate. The boy might even be innocent, and this whole setup and compromise may have emanated from the police. Maybe. But what I am trying to explain and to teach is the circumstances, the many circumstances that may lead to somebody just stealing chicken and then be sentenced to death. Well, let us say luck is on the side of this young man and his family. The governor of the state, the governor of Osun State, His Excellency Ademola Adeleke, has waded in on the matter. He said, I have received the report of the case of a young man reportedly sentenced to death by hanging in Osun State for stealing a fowl. Consequently, I have directed the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Osun State, to commence full investigation into the matter and initiate processes to grant prerogative of mercy to this young man. Osun is a land of justice and equity and must ensure fairness and protection of the sanctity of lives. I assure members of the public that this matter is receiving my direct attention with every sense of urgency, also attached to our response to the matter. I think what the governor should have done first, instead of automatically promising clemency and governor's pardon, is to investigate the case and know what exactly happened. What if death of another person had happened? What if there was conspiracy to do something more grievous? What if what the parents are projecting is not all the facts of the matter? It would have been more ideal if the governor had said, launch a full-scale investigation from the roots, independent panels, not the police, independent bodies that would investigate thoroughly without bias what exactly happened. And if it is found that this man didn't do anything, or it was just stealing chicken with his hands and living, then I will grant clemency. Well, if the young chap in question is innocent, then I am very happy that the governor has intervened. But if something else happens that the public is not aware of, well, what can we say? But congratulations, go and sin no more. I hope I have been able to enlighten us on the distinctions between all these kinds of stealing and what the law says about them. Do drop all your comments, thoughts, and reactions down in the comment section. So guys, yes, we have come to the end of today's video. I hope you got something from it. If you're new here, you're seeing my face for the first time, or if you've been watching without subscribing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, drop all your comments down in the comment section, and stay glued, for we have so much more coming your way. It's me, your girl, Barrister Neze, and this is Nezeville. I'll see you guys in my next one. For now,